Sad goodbye, Jennifer Saunders' tragic end after doctor's diagnosis. Jennifer Saunders had always been the light in the room. Whether she was on stage, on screen, or just sitting at a family dinner, her wit danced like sunlight on rippling water. She had a way of making people laugh, not just a chuckle, but the kind of laugh that made your ribs ache and your soul feel lighter. But even the brightest lights flicker. And one day, that flicker began with a cough. Just a cough. Dry. Persistent. Nothing to worry about, she thought. But it stayed. And then came the fatigue. The kind that didn't go away with sleep or coffee. Her husband, Adrian, insisted she go for a checkup. Jennifer, never one to fuss, finally agreed. It was supposed to be routine. Blood work. A scan or two. Nothing out of the ordinary. Until it wasn't. The doctor's office was quiet. Too quiet. Jennifer sat with her scarf wrapped tightly around her neck. She remembered thinking the room felt too cold for spring. The doctor came in slowly, with a file held too tightly. His eyes didn't meet hers right away. That's when she knew. Before he said a word. "Jennifer," he began, "you have advanced pancreatic cancer." She didn't cry. Not then. She smiled, oddly enough. And then said, "Well, that's bloody inconvenient." The doctor chuckled nervously. Jennifer always knew how to make things easier for other people. Even in moments like this. But when she left the hospital, the weight of those words pressed against her chest like an invisible boulder. She sat in her car for 20 minutes, staring at the steering wheel. Then, she drove home. Carefully. Quietly. As if each mile were a prayer. At home, Adrian knew. Not the details. But the look on her face said everything. She told him in the garden, with the spring tulips blooming behind her. And for the first time in years, he wept openly. They held each other. Long after the sun had set. Long after the cold crept into their bones. Jennifer decided not to hide it. She called her daughters the next day. They were heartbroken. But grateful, she told them honestly. "I don't want pity," she said. "I want presence." So they came. And they stayed. And the house filled with laughter again. Jennifer didn't want hospitals. She didn't want tubes, or sterile sheets, or fluorescent lights. She wanted her own bed. Her own pillows. Her books. Her dog curled at her feet. So she made a choice. She would live whatever time she had left on her own terms. In her own home. With her people. She called Dawn French next. Her dearest friend. Her partner in laughter and life. Dawn drove down the same day. They stayed up until 2 a.m., drinking tea and remembering every ridiculous sketch they'd ever ruined with laughter. They cried a little. But mostly, they laughed. Jennifer made a list. Things to do before the end. Not a bucket list, she hated that term. Just moments she wanted to have. Again. Tea at the Savoy with her daughters. A walk by the river in Oxford. Rewatching Some Like It Hot with Adrian, wrapped in a blanket. One last girls' night with her oldest friends. Reading poetry out loud in the garden. She did every one. Slowly, gently, with help when she needed it. Her body weakened, yes. But her spirit didn't. She wrote letters. Dozens of them. One to each grandchild. To be opened on their 18th birthday. One to Adrian, labeled for when you need me most. One to Dawn, simply titled You. As the summer wore on, the illness took more from her. She lost weight. Sleep became difficult. Her hands trembled when she tried to write. But she kept going. Because every hour was now sacred. Every laugh was a gift. Neighbors brought over meals. Cards poured in from all over the world. Fans who'd grown up with her shows. Colleagues. Old friends. One letter came from a young woman battling the same illness. "I'm not afraid anymore," it read. "Because you've taught me to be brave, and funny, and loud even when life gets small." Jennifer cried then. Not for herself. But for the connection. For the reminder that she still mattered. Her final weeks were quiet. Birdsong in the morning. Soft music in the afternoons. Adrian reading to her by lamplight. Her daughters brushing her hair. On her last evening, the family gathered. There were candles. Warm soup. Old photographs. Stories that stretched into the night. She didn't speak much that day. But she smiled. So much. So peacefully. In the early morning, before the sun had risen, Jennifer took her last breath. Adrian was holding her hand. Their dog was curled at her feet. The window was open. And the wind smelled of lavender. She was 66. The news spread gently. Her family released a short statement. Jennifer Saunders passed peacefully at home, surrounded by love and laughter. She asked that you remember her not with tears, but with joy. The tributes flooded in. Not from tabloids, but from people. Everyday people. A nurse who said Jennifer made her smile during chemo. A teacher who used absolutely fabulous clips to show students the power of timing and confidence. An elderly man who said she helped him laugh after his wife passed. At her memorial, no one wore black. Just as she requested. They wore colors. Sang songs. Laughed through their tears. Dawn gave the final eulogy. "I've lost my best friend," she said. But she hasn't left. She's in every laugh. In every cup of tea. In every woman who dares to be both strong and ridiculous. Jennifer's ashes were scattered in the garden. Among the tulips. Among the lavender. Among the things she loved most. Today, years later, people still speak her name with a smile. Not because of what she did on screen. But because of who she was when the cameras stopped. She showed the world how to face the end with humor, courage, and grace. She said goodbye without fear. And left behind a legacy of laughter. And love.